Welcome back. Today I got another great video for you guys. It's another battle, a face-off of debt payoff strategies. And today I found another contender to go up against velocity banking, and that is debt consolidation. Now these are two completely different strategies, and they will attack debt differently because with debt consolidation, you're using an amortized loan, which we haven't really talked about before, but I'll explain that a little bit more, versus a simple interest loan in a personal line of credit or whatever sort of velocity banking tool you decide to use. So we have our sample person and our four major numbers. We have their income, we have their expenses, and their cash flow, and they have an extremely high cash flow, $500. It's more than what we're looking for both strategies. And we have their debts listed out right here. So we have a student loan, car, and 2 credit cards. This is your typical student who maybe just graduated from college. They moved out into an apartment and they got into a little bit of trouble, trying to keep up with the Joneses here. But we're going to pay this off and we're going to see which strategy is more effective. So let's start with debt consolidation. And like I said, debt consolidation is an amortized loan. So it's calculated on a different schedule. So they want interest payment plus principal at the same time, and it's on a fixed schedule. So let's say that you go into a bank and you're able to get a loan to pay off all of this to simplify everything, because that is the biggest pro for debt consolidation, is that it makes everything simple. It's one payment and you can usually get it at a lower rate. And we'll talk about this and how this can be somewhat misleading on an amortized schedule, right? So you get your $15,000 loan, you wipe all this out, you have a new payment, monthly payment of $283, which actually does decrease cash flow. Which increases cash flow, which is exactly what we're looking for when it comes to debt payoff. So we can put more towards paying off the loan quicker. So those are some of the pros of debt consolidation. It's a real simple strategy. I don't even need to list out all the numbers that I did for debt snowball. And in my opinion, debt consolidation is a better strategy than debt snowball if you follow this process right here. It also takes out the credit card loans, which have an enormously high interest rate, 20 and 18% that are calculated daily as a simple interest. So by knocking those out, you save yourself a lot of interest in the long run. Now, some of the downsides of debt consolidation is that the interest rates and payments are locked in, right? So if you don't pay more than what you're supposed to, those interest rates are locked in. You can't pay it off ahead of time or anything like that. And they want you to pay more interest up front rather than the principal. So I calculated, and in year 1, you're paying $688 in interest on this loan, which is a lot of money. And by the end of the 5-year term, you're looking at something around $2,000 in interest. So those are some of the cons. And now let's look at velocity banking, which is the strategy that I teach, and how you can save a little bit more money doing it this way. So in this example, you're making a little bit more money. You have a PLOC of $10,000 and the interest rate 7%, which is a little higher than the debt consolidation loan, but I'll explain why it's not. Because this loan right here is calculated at simple interest daily, which could be a good or a bad thing. But for us in velocity banking, it's a good thing, because since it's being calculated daily, if we lower the balance, we're not being charged as much interest, whereas this is a fixed interest cost. So again, we're doing velocity banking. We do our first chunk, 66%. Right, and what are we gonna do? We're going to wipe out the most inefficient loans. So we're gonna take this out, we're gonna take this out, and then we're gonna put the rest into the car payment, the car note. So we decrease that and we satisfy this month's payment for the car. So doing velocity banking, right, we gotta take we put our paycheck in, we sit it in this, but we also have to pay for expenses, right, throughout the month. So our expenses for this month is going to be $2,135 because we already satisfied the payments for these doing velocity banking, and then we just keep repeating the process, right? But again, we have to factor in the interest rate and the interest costs. And to calculate simple interest is simply all you got to do is take the principal times it by the rate, which is 7%, so that'll be 0.7. So let's say 66.7, and then you multiply it by the term. The term, if you're doing it 1 year, would just be 1. And then if you want to get the interest for the month, obviously you would just divide this number by 12. And that's where I came up with $38.50. So that's how much you're paying for the month if you didn't pay down anything at all. Remember, we're putting our paycheck into the line of credit, and this is calculated daily. So the more that you pay this down, the less that you have to pay in interest. So right, we keep doing velocity banking, and instead of writing out all the numbers, I calculated that by the end of November you would pay off pretty much your first chunk. And during that time, the only amount of interest you pay pretty much for the whole entire year at most would be $228.17. So let's compare that, right? For these two. Now with debt consolidation, you wiped out all these loans. So obviously, you know, there's a bit of a contrast with this. You're taking care of everything. So obviously the interest payments might be a little bit higher. But with this strategy, right, we're only paying $228 a month. And then on our second chunk, right, we should be able to wipe out all the debt because we've been paying these down during the whole entire year, and we already made a chunk to the car payment. So our next chunk should wipe out everything. And again, if we pay everything off in a year, in total, that'll be around $500 in interest in 2 years. Compared to, right, this is a 5-year loan. If you don't pay anything in addition to what you have, then you're looking at close to $2,000 in just interest cost. So again, compare and contrast. You know, debt consolidation, in my opinion, is a better strategy than the debt snowball. But again, when you put it against velocity banking, it doesn't match up because it's going to take you 5 years to pay off all these debts because the loan term is 5 years and you're paying more interest, right? And then we pay this off in 2 years and we pay less interest. And you can offset these costs with credit card points and things of that nature. So I haven't even talked about that. But $500 in interest is nothing. It's, you know, nothing to care about at this point. So again, I'm going to have to give the W to velocity banking on this one. So I enjoy doing these videos. I'll find more debt payoff strategies in the future that I could compare these to. And hopefully you found this one very useful and informative. And there may be some cases where debt consolidation may be more beneficial at the time than velocity banking. So we'll have to try to come up with a strategy for the best options. But in the meantime, hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll have more videos like this in the future. Thank you.